Hey guys, it's Jeff here. Today I've got a new installment in making yarn from dogbane. Now I've talked before about how I take these rough fibers from the stalk. I haven't done anything else, so I've only removed them from the stalk at this point. You can see there's still bits of bark in there. And I comb them with this bone comb that a buddy made. Now, once I use those, I end up with a lot of tow fiber, which I end up carding. I really like that as carded fiber. But I also end up with these nice, I think linen, we usually call them a strick, but these nice, long, soft fibers. Just a little bits of bark in here, some. But I end up with these, and I've been trying to find a really good way to spin these. You've seen me talk in some of the other videos about other tools that I've used, and it's been all right. But I think I found my favorite tool for the line fibers, and that is a support spindle. Now, a support spindle is not a drop spindle, so you're not just letting it suspend. Instead, you want it to sit on something, hence the name suspended. Now for mine, especially for the sake of taking it around, I like to take it to work and spin during my lunch. So I've made this bowl, just a plank with some holes for string and a depression in it right there. And then this can spin right there. Now additionally to using the support spindle, the other thing that I've started doing here, is that I won't take the whole strick at once. I'm just going to take a little bit off at a time, maybe about that much. And there was a video, let's make sure I link the video, a video where a woman showed how to spin from the fold. And so what that means is I've got each end of the strick coming down both sides of my finger, and then my yarn gets set underneath right there in the fold. And then I give this a twirl, and notice that I'm holding it with my fingers here, thumb and pointer turn it. But that gets my twist, and then my drafting happens right here. I use my thumb there to start to let some of these fibers in. Give it a spin as necessary. Support the spindle with my right hand, and with my left hand, I just try to get those fibers to start going in there. I feel like I have better control over my drafting, and if I have trouble with this, sometimes I just kind of tuck it down here in my lap, so then I can really get both hands involved in trying to draft out. Like right now I've gotten too thin, and so I want both hands just to try to get a little bit more control, a little bit more consistency in there. But then spin it up just to get it all holding together nice, and then I keep working with a temporary cop right here. And what I've found is that the temporary cop means I'm not having to stop too often. I can adjust my yarn as I go along here. And typically what I do is I go through this whole little bunch that I have on my finger. And after I've spun that up, after I finish the whole bunch, or maybe two bunches, because I got a pretty small bunch right here. After I do that, and the temporary cop is pretty big, then I will move it down to the cop you see at the bottom there. But this is just really giving me a lot more consistency and a lot more control over spinning the line fibers. I'm going to be honest, this is only my second foray into into the support spindle. I did use this spindle to spin some wool before I went to the dogbane because I just consider the dogbane that much more precious since I go out collect it from the wild. And I didn't get any this past winter. I'm still working on my stash from 2 winters ago. But that doesn't seem to degrade the fiber at all from what I'm seeing. Just going along little by little. And you might notice that the spot that I'm in right now has a lot of bark in it still, even after all the combing. But a lot of times, especially if I'm spinning it a little bit finer, a lot of times that bark will still come out in the spinning. One thing I still haven't done, and I will share with you once I do, is I haven't tried finishing dogbane. I read somewhere about boiling it for, I think it was like half an hour. Hopefully, after I finish all of my experiments in spinning, and I have all of those different yarns and threads worked up, then I will try finishing the yarns, setting the twist, and share with you how those yarns have all worked out after that. But as I said, I still have one more, I think, one more experiment to try after this, because as well as the support spindles going for me, I realized that there's a support spindle from India, Takli, I think is how you say it, and that is used with cotton. And I know that the charka worked well with the row lags, and so I'd like to try that. Now, one thing to say about spinning from the fold is oftentimes it gets really messy down here at the end, and I just take that bunch off, let the rest of this spin up. Now, that said, you can see I've got a lot of yarn on here. I'm really not sure how many yards, but this end is around that thickness, so I mean there's definitely a lot there. As I go through, when I finish each little piece that was on my finger, I do have some toe left over. So this that I showed earlier, this is actually the toe that is left over as I spin each part of the strick here. But this can still go back. I'll make row legs out of it and spin more later. But hopefully you can see the yarn. It really is getting pretty consistent. It's getting a good tight twist on it, but it's still soft enough in hand. It's not feeling hard like a twine yet. Again, seems like something that maybe I could use in weaving. I don't know that it's long wearing enough for me to consider for sewing. I will say I like the support spindle for also winding off really quick, because as I move from the temporary cop to the regular cop, I guess, I just hold the top like that and I make a little butterfly. Just like that, and then I set it against myself to wind on to the regular cop down here. And I always leave a little bit so I can get enough of a temporary cop up here before I keep going. So that is where I am right now. I'm going to finish up my other stricks, and then I'm going to come back to you. I think I might even wind this off just so we can see as a skein just how much of this I've managed to get onto this spindle. But I still have 2 stricks to go. So I'm going to finish those up before I wind this off, and we can see what this looks like off of the spindle. Alright guys, so I've finished up spinning. I'm going to call that pretty full spindle. And I wanted to just take you along as I wind this off, partially because I want to use, I've just recently thrown together, and it's not quite in its finished state yet, but a spindle holder that I believe for a support spindle should also work as a lazy Kate. So I still haven't decided about this yarn yet. Yeah, that's gonna work nicely, I think. I don't know if I want to just leave it as a single or if I want to apply it. I will say that for my other experiments with wool, that applying is not so much fun on the support spindle. And you can see as this is coming off just how thin I was able to get this, and yet it's relatively soft in the hand here. It's not too rough and abrasive like some of the others that I've done with the higher twist. Now, I will say, I know some people count when they're doing this so they know their yardage. Unfortunately, I threw this nitty knotty together from scrap material that I had, and so I just fit it to what I had. It is, because I just measured it before I started doing this, each wrap is apparently approximately 3 feet and 4 inches, I guess, which is not too convenient for converting to yardage. I will say that is a good amount coming off so far, and you can see in the background there, I hope, that the spindle is still pretty full. Definitely enjoying the dogbane. I'm actually sad I don't have too many more techniques to try. I thought this was the last one, and now that I'm going to try doing the carded on the Tockley, I think that's the last. I still have some more things I can do. Still need to see about how to finish these, and I should probably go ahead and start making something out of some of the dogbane yarn. What do you guys think? Should I try knitting, crocheting, some sort of weaving? I've thought about nail binding, but I don't think the dogbane is going to be good for combining shorter strands on. What do you think? Should we try knitting, crocheting, weaving? Of course, I've got all the different yarns, so I'll have to do a comparison on line fibers versus carded fibers on the various spindles. But I would definitely love to hear in the comments what you think I should do with some of the yarn, because as nice as it is to just have it sitting in a basket and be able to say, I made that, I gathered the plants, and I did all the work to make that into yarn, I think it'd be better to have just a little something more to it. That holder is awesome. I'm loving this. I mean, it's easy enough to wind off of and onto the support spindle, but that just makes it so much better. Alright, and there we are, basically at the end. So I don't know, it's really thin. Now while it's showing up there, it's really pretty fine. I don't know, what do you think? Should I apply this? I have to grab one of my other spindles to apply it. I think, I feel like this actually complements the Chakra singles. Charka. I always say that wrong. The Charka singles. So I feel like this might be just a good complement. The line fiber here, the carded fibers with the Charka. So that is my first use of the support spindle. Again, this was a piece of a chair leg I found in my attic. Hand carved it, added a little nail to the bottom so that way it would spin nicely. But I did alright for doing it by hand. It spins pretty decently and pretty true, especially when I've got my little bowl out. But there you go. That is the most recent experiment with dogbane and the support spindle. So I look forward to reading your comments to know what you think I should do with some of this. And I'll be back in a few months with
further experiments. I'll talk to you all later.